after doing a little bit of research, I have found what I think is a pretty comfortable substitute for Adobe Illustrator, and that is the Gravit Designer web-based program. And that will work good with your Chromebooks. So when you first landed on the link, you would have needed to have created a free account by using your Google login. So hopefully you've already done that, gone through those steps. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click the Start Now button. You're going to come up to a window like this, and the program continues to load. And we're ready to start a new design. There are lots of other options to choose from, but we are starting a new design. And we're going to just keep it pretty simple for right now. And we're going to do the US letter landscape, so the 11 by 8.5. So go ahead and click that. And now this is called a canvas in Gravit Designer. And what we're going to do then is set up kind of our desktop as you will. Mine has the rulers visible. Yours probably does not if this is the first time that you've used it. So what you're going to do first is start with View, Canvas, and then make sure that Show Rulers has a check mark in front of it. And then those rulers will pop up for you to see and use, and we'll need that here in a little bit. To draw our wavy line to create our op art drawing on this canvas online, what you're going to do is click the Path tool. It looks like a little calligraphy pen tip, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to choose what our canvas color is going to be. And if it is not already white, you'll want to choose white. And you can, as you can see, you can slide it around and it would become different colors. But we want to choose a white. And then we want to have the opacity at 0 because we don't want to be able to see it. We kind of want a transparent background. So what we're going to do then is I would set your pen tool. Let's just see what that looks like. Nope, I think 1 point is okay. So we're going to just get rid of that. Just doing a little testing there. And again, then you can choose whatever color you would like. I'm going to just keep it super simple, and I'm going to just stay with the black. And you would have the layer settings at normal, and then the opacity at 100% because we want your black to be a nice dense color. You are going to see a layer pop up down here as we start working. But when you do this, I want you to start off a little bit to the side of your paper or your canvas on the desktop here or on your laptop. Because I don't want you to have like a little blank space here, so I want you to start off on the edge. And I would kind of come down and work across the middle of your paper. Because if you remember, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating peaks and valleys. Whoops, I already got a bad start here. Can you tell that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to click and hold and drag, and that's how I can toggle these little handlebars around. Now if you remember, we want a variety of peaks. Now I'm not holding down, I'm just moving with my mouse pad. We want a variety of heights on our peaks, and we want a variety of depths on our valleys, and we also want some that are skinnier, some that are wider. But the one thing we need to remember is that we don't want any of what I have called those ocean waves. And if you remember what ocean waves are, is so it doesn't curve back in on itself like a crashing wave looks like at the lake or at an ocean. So again, this may take a little bit of work to do because I'm guessing that you might not be super skilled or experienced at drawing these types of things. Now you do want to try to go off the edge of your paper too. Okay, so now I've kind of drawn my wavy line. It's not the greatest line, but it certainly will work for what we're going to do. and it certainly meets the requirements of the varying heights for the peaks, varying depths for the valleys, and I have varying widths of those. Some are skinnier, some are wider, and things like that. So again, you can use your mouse pad to kind of move your canvas around. Now, this is where the ruler is going to come in handy, because we're going to end up, if I try to get that as close, well, actually, one more thing. I'm going to just click on that and it's good. Now, you can come back in and kind of adjust things if you want to or you need to. You kind of go like, oh, I guess I do have a little ocean wave there. Maybe that's something that I need to fix. You can, or maybe I'm like, I got that's kind of got way down too far there. Can adjust that. Can do lots of things with it. There, I kind of like, maybe I'll mess with this one a little bit more too. There, maybe we like that one. All right, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. So, and I can click and, maybe I can, oops, there we go. Gotta get the right pointer selected there. All right, so I can move the whole thing. Now, here is where, remember when I said we would be using the ruler? Well, actually, if you click off of your line that you drew, the path that you drew, this should pop up where it says grid. Now, if it does not, what you can do is go to View, and then Canvas, and then Show Grid. So see how it changed here to be on. Now, in my opinion, what I have learned in the time that I have been using this program is that using the grid works pretty handy. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to now come in and make sure I have my selection tool highlighted here. And I'm going to just come in, I'm going to grab and move this so that very first point that I had drawn that is on the edge of the paper is going to be on that very first bottom little grid. Okay, I've done that. Now I'm going to go Edit, Copy, or Command C like we are used to doing. So I'm going to do Copy. Oh, it says can't do that way, so I have to do the Command C. Or whatever trips you. And then I'm going to do Command V to paste. And it may not look like it, but there is another one on there. So what I actually could do, I shouldn't have moved that, because what I can do is just use my arrow keys, and I can arrow that down so that little tip right there is touching the next little grid line. And then you'll notice here that I have two lines starting to show up, and they are one grid mark apart. So this is it. You've done the hardest part. Now it just takes a little time. So if I go copy, paste, and arrow down, make that little tip beyond the next grid line, you'll notice now I have 3 lines. Copy, paste, arrow it down, copy, paste, arrow it down, copy, paste, arrow it down. Now, the one thing that might be confusing is when I copy and I paste, it's like, whoa, there's nothing new there. I don't have anything. That's because it just pastes it right on top. So trust yourself that you did it. And then just use your arrow down and you'll see that it starts to show up and it starts to create this awesome, awesome illusion. And truly, I would not try to do this by hand. I would not try to move it by hand. Looks like I got this one a little bit off. I went a little bit too far. So you can always come back in and reselect individual lines and do that. Now, if you get super tricky and want to speed the process up even more. Now you can do that to fill your whole page. Not a problem. Easy peasy, easy Perfect. We'll get the actual illusion that we're going for. But what you can do over here, you'll notice that additional paths were starting to be in our little layers palette here. So if I click on the top one and I hold down my shift key and I come down and I click on the bottom one, you'll notice that it selects all of them, and it also selected all of them up here. So then if I go to modify, group selection, or Command G, it now has only one here. But if I do my copy and paste again and I shift it down, I'm just holding down my arrow key, what it did, now you got to be a little trickier with this, is it made a copy of that whole group that I had done. And now I just had to kind of figure out where the bottom one was and get it to fit in there. Okay, so now what I could do is I could be on this second one that I just did. I can do another copy, paste, like I had done before. I can arrow it down. And I'm just holding the arrow key down. And the way I'm actually spacing this out, because it gets really, really congested over here on my edge, is I'm just making sure that at my peaks and at my valleys, it's one little grid box apart. Okay? Now, I've never done this, so I'm going to try something new right here with you in the video. But if I do that again, where I select all three of those, and if I go to modify group again, it just grouped all of that work together that I've done. I'm going to go copy, paste, and notice it just made a copy of everything that I did. Now, if you trust yourself, you can actually, wait a minute, maybe you can't. Maybe I need to move this up here. I was thinking that, yep, it will let you move the whole thing down. Now see how you can get it shifted off to the one side and not create the illusion that you're going for? But I'm going to be really careful, and I'm just kind of matching up to make sure that all of my beginnings of my lines, whoops, see I went down a little bit too far. So now maybe it would be a good idea if I used my arrow key, and I'm just making sure that my peaks and valleys are all one little grid mark apart. Okay, so see how I did that? Now, I'm not gonna like group the whole thing and copy it again. So what I'm gonna do is just copy and paste that one section. I think the secret is that you have to kind of click on a line. Whoops, I only selected a little part there, I guess. I didn't do the whole thing again, but that's okay. So I just copied and pasted that on there. Now I could even, because see I had just this one little group selected. Not a big deal. Copy and paste that again. I can move it down because I want it to basically fill my whole page. Now if I just click off to the side, get it selected there where I can see my whole page. Now I do have a little bit of white space or empty space at the top, and I have a little bit at the bottom. I could continue to copy and paste those in, but look, by just drawing that one line and just repeating that single line spaced evenly down the page, how I've created this optical illusion. Simple as that. So once you have this done, you have to find a way that you're going to be able to save it, to be able to submit it for me. So the best way that I have found is if you go to File, Export, and you're going to go to JPEG image. Okay, I'm not going to do that just yet. Now, say that I am not completely finished and my time is up, or I need to stop working and I need to be able to open it again later. What I would probably do is go to Download File and see how it created this untitled GV design. Okay, that would be what I would make sure is saved in my drive. Then when I come back to it again, I would be able to, let me see if I can do it here. If I click on Designer, the Gravit Designer, go to that same website, and then I would open from computer. I could find it in my downloads, and there it is, my Gravit Designer file, and it saved all the work that I did. Now, do you see how this is a little bit darker through the middle? It looks to me like I might have had another one duplicated. Looks like I might have had some that were overlapping. So I might want to go back in and fix that before I would actually submit it. But I'm going to go back to the other window that I had open and pretend like that's perfect and ready to submit. What I would do is I would go to File, Export, Export as a JPEG image. And I would make sure then, before I submit it on Canvas, that I would change the name of it. Now, this will probably be saved in your drive because you'll be using a Chromebook. But either way, awesome, awesome looking optical illusion drawing, done with relative ease, I would say, but definitely a very effective, complete drawing.